Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is Heyman Nazir and welcome to Knowledge Realm. So viewers, the topic that we're going to discuss today is a very worrisome problem of Pakistan. I'm talking about the problem of expensive electricity in Pakistan. Well, in the previous couple of days, we witnessed that the government of Pakistan raised the cost of electricity, and then the people reacted. They took to streets and they started protest. So today we're going to discuss this problem in detail. We're going to talk about the causes of expensive electricity in Pakistan and the impacts and the solutions also. So stay focused and let's get started. So the problem of expensive electricity in Pakistan is not a new problem. It is a very old problem, and the people of Pakistan have been living with this problem since the 1990s. And I've added a chart here. This is a chart that shows the data from NEPRA. NEPRA is National Electric Power Regulatory Authority of Pakistan. So this chart here shows that the end user consumer tariff has doubled in the last 10 years. You can see here that in year 2015, a unit cost in Pakistan was 13.50. But then in 2022, the unit cost was raised to 24.82, which means that almost double. The cost has been doubled in the last 10 years. So it shows that the problem of expensive electricity in Pakistan is not a new problem. So in 2022, we were paying 24.82 rupees for a unit. But then in 2023, the government approved a raise in price of unit. In July, rupees 4.96 was added in the price of the unit, and then in August 2023, NEPRA approved rupees 5.40 per unit hike in electricity price, and this was the thing that brought people to the streets, and then people started protesting, and this was the thing that caused a disrupt in the country Pakistan. Then now we can see that a residential unit price is rupees 22 if you use less than or equals to 100 units. This is for 100 units. If you use 100 units, you'll pay rupees 22. And if you use 700 units or more than 700 units, the residential unit price is rupees 65. Now these prices are very high, and people cannot afford these prices, and now people are protesting. People are saying that we cannot afford to buy this expensive electricity, and the government should do something. The government should do some relief to the people of Pakistan. Now these things are happening in Pakistan, and this is very stressing and disturbing and not good for the people of Pakistan. And then Central Power Purchasing Authority is seeking an increase of rupees 2.07 in per unit cost of electricity from NEPRA. Now this authority, CPPA, is seeking further increase in unit cost of electricity from NEPRA. Well, it shows that the condition is abysmal and very pathetic condition Pakistani people are living in. As I mentioned at the beginning of this lecture, that we're going to discuss the causes of expensive electricity in Pakistan, the impacts of expensive electricity in Pakistan, and then the solution of the problem also. So we're going to start with the causes of expensive electricity in Pakistan, and the first cause that we're going to discuss today is high cost of generation of electricity. Viewers, the electricity that Pakistan generates is very expensive. Why? Because the fuel that Pakistan uses for the generation of electricity is expensive. Now, what fuel Pakistan uses for this purpose? Pakistan uses oil, natural gas and coal for the generation of electricity in Pakistan. And we all know that Pakistan does not have oil, Pakistan does not have that much natural gas, and Pakistan does not have that much coal to produce electricity. So what does Pakistan do? Pakistan imports all these fossil fuel for the production of electricity in Pakistan. Pakistan uses imported fossil fuel. Well, I would not say at all that Pakistan imports all the fossil fuels for the production of electricity and Pakistan doesn't have anything. No, Pakistan does have coal. Pakistan does have some natural gas, and some proportion of these fossil fuels are from within Pakistan, and Pakistan uses some of its own coal and natural gas for the production of electricity, but the major portion is being imported by the government of Pakistan. The Central Asia Regional Economic Cooperation Program, that was the program of Asian Development Bank, its report, that is Energy Outlook 2030, this report shows that 40% of the fuel to generate electricity in Pakistan is imported. Pakistan relies on this imported fuel for the generation of electricity in the country. Now, what is problem with this imported fuel, and how it contributes to the cost of electricity in Pakistan, how it makes the electricity expensive? Well, it makes the electricity expensive because we import these fuel in dollar. We all know that Saudi Arabia sells its oil in dollar, and all other countries also do this trade in dollar. So we import this oil in dollar. And we all know that there are many factors in the world these days that have caused a rise in the cost of oil and the fossil fuels. This is Ukraine war, and then COVID pandemic, and all these factors actually contributed to the increase in the cost of these fossil fuels. So Pakistan has to import oil for the production of electricity, and Pakistan imports this oil in dollar. And we all know that Pakistani rupee is a very, very unstable currency, and it devalues a lot, and when it devalues we have to pay more and more. Then, according to National Electric Power Regulatory Authority (NEPRA's) yearly report 2021, Pakistan's total installed power generation capacity is 39 gigawatt, or I should say 39,772 megawatt, of which 63% of energy comes from thermal, which is fossil fuels. And from where does this fossil fuel come? It comes from the other country. We import these fossil fuel. Then 63% of energy comes from thermal fossil fuels, and we import these fossil fuels. Then 25% from hydro, 5.4% from renewable, that is wind, solar, biomass, and 6.5% from nuclear. So now all of you can make a very good understanding that why the electricity in Pakistan is expensive, because the major reason behind this high cost of electricity in Pakistan is the high cost of generation of electricity. We generate electricity out of fossil fuels. We use fossil fuels to generate electricity, and we import these fossil fuels in dollars. Now, the second cause of expensive electricity in Pakistan: flawed approach of government in agreements with independent power producers. Viewers, our government took very, very flawed approach in making agreements with independent power producers. Our government came into very unjust agreements with independent power producers. Now, what is this all about? Let's study. Viewers, in 1994, Pakistan signed these agreements with independent power producers. What are these independent power producers? Well, these are the power producers. Power producers means electricity producers, and these were foreign companies. These were companies from US, Turkey, China, and these were private companies. So Pakistan in 1994 privatized its power producing sector, and it gave this contract to the independent power producers, and it asked independent power producers, private producers, to install power producing plants in Pakistan. And it happened in 1994. 19 IPPs were granted permission of operations in Pakistan, and then these IPPs started operations in Pakistan. These IPPs installed power plants in Pakistan. Now, if we hear all this, that IPPs installed power plant in Pakistan for the generation of electricity, it sounds very good. But the clauses and the terms and conditions of these agreements were not in favor of Pakistani people, and these were very unjust. Why? First of all, these IPPs installed power plants that run on fossil fuels. I've explained it in the previous slide that we have power plants that run on fossil fuels, and these power plants were installed by these independent power producers. So before 1994, we were producing electricity from hydropower plants that was very cheap. I mean, that was way better than the power plants that run on fossil fuels. So these IPPs actually installed power plants that run on fossil fuels. This is the main problem. And we all know that fossil fuels are very, very expensive these days. Pakistan must import oil and natural gas and coal to fuel these plants. And we all know that today Pakistan does not have any money to import these fossil fuels. Pakistan Bureau of Statistics shows that Pakistan imported petroleum products worth 15.38 billion from July to May of the fiscal year 2022-2023. In 11 months, Pakistan imported petroleum products worth $15.38 billion. Now, this is the main problem with the power plants installed by IPPs. Then another condition imposed by these IPPs demanded that Pakistan would be paying to these IPPs into two components. There would be two components of payment to the IPPs. First, there would be capacity payment, capacity charge, and then there would be energy payment. Now, what is this capacity payment? This is actually a very complex I mean, not complex, but this is a new concept, and I would explain this in the next slide. This is another. We will discuss this in another separate cause of expensive electricity in Pakistan. But here, just try to be comfortable with this. That the IPPs said that there would be two components of payment, and Pakistan would pay IPPs into two components. First, Pakistan would pay capacity payment. That is a fixed cost. Then Pakistan would pay for energy that the IPPs are generating, and Pakistan would buy IPPs fossil fuels, and WAPDA would actually buy IPPs these fossil fuels, while WAPDA would import these fossil fuels, and WAPDA would bear all the cost of fossil fuels, and then WAPDA would give this fossil fuels to the IPPs, and then IPP would generate electricity. And Pakistan would pay IPPs in dollars. Pakistan would pay all the interest for the installation of this all these power plants in dollars. Now, this is a very, very heavy cost, viewers. This is a very, very heavy cost. Pakistan has to import fossil fuel because these IPPs installed power plants run on fossil fuels. Pakistan has to import these fossil fuels, and Pakistan pays in dollar, and Pakistan pay to IPPs in dollars also. So this is a very flawed approach of government in agreements with independent power producers. Pakistani government privatized the power producing sector of Pakistan, which is not in favor, which did not benefit the people of Pakistan. So another cause of expensive electricity in Pakistan: capacity payments to IPPs. Now, this is a very important and major cause behind this increase in cost of electricity that we are seeing today. Capacity payments to IPPs. This is once again a consequence of the flawed approach of government of Pakistan in making agreements with IPPs. Now, what is this capacity payment? Well, I explained in the previous slide that the IPPs, while making agreement with the government of Pakistan, posed a condition on the government of Pakistan, that the government of Pakistan would pay the IPPs into two components. First, there would be capacity payment, then there would be energy payment. What is this energy payment? Energy payment is all the variable cost that the government of Pakistan would incur, all the cost of fuel, the cost of operation and maintenance, and all this kind of cost. But what is this capacity payment? Capacity payment is actually a fixed cost. If I define it in the most simple words, capacity payment is actually the reimbursement to IPPs for the installation of plants in Pakistan. IPPs say that okay, we are installing power plants in your country and we are paying for this, we are sponsoring this, we are bearing the cost for this installation of plants in your country, and we are increasing the capacity of electricity generation in your country. Now this is a very good way to understand this. IPP say that we are actually increasing your capacity of electricity generation. So for that you will have to pay us a fixed cost, and that cost would be called capacity payment. We are increasing your capacity, okay, then you will pay us a fixed cost. That would be called capacity payment. Now this is the reimbursement to IPPs for the installation of plants in Pakistan. Now a very unjustified thing about these capacity payments is Pakistan has to pay even if IPPs do not make a single unit of electricity. The consumer would pay it even if the IPPs do not make a single unit of electricity, because IPPs say that we have installed plants in your country. Now if you do not pay for the fuel, if you do not pay us, what are we going to do? We cannot generate electricity. But since we have installed these plants, you will pay us even if we do not make a single unit of electricity. You will have to pay capacity payments to IPPs. Then this cost is added to the bill of the consumer. We all people of Pakistan pay this capacity charge. Now here I have added a chart, and this chart is actually based on the data from NEPRA, and this chart shows the increase in the cost of a unit of electricity over the years. It compares the year 2015, 2019, 2021, and then 2022. Now here in this chart, there's a very interesting thing. It actually shows all the composition of average end user consumer tariff over the years. It shows the energy charge, it shows the transmission and distribution losses, it shows transmission and distribution cost, then it shows the distribution margin, and most important and interesting, it shows the capacity charge, kilowatt hour. And a very interesting and unjustified thing, you can see here that in year 2015 capacity charge was this much. Let's just make a very rough guess. Let's say that this is from 10 to 15. Let's say that it is 3 rupees per kilowatt hour. So in 2015 it was this much, but then in 2022 we can say that it raised a lot. The cost, the capacity charge has increased a lot. It is from 15 to 25 rupees per kilowatt hour. What does it mean? It means that 10 rupees per unit of electricity, which means that from 2015 to 2022 it has increased a lot, more than tripled. So this is the concept, and this is the unjustified capacity payments to IPPs, and this thing contributes to the cost of electricity in Pakistan, and it makes the electricity in Pakistan expensive. So two more causes of expensive electricity in Pakistan: structural adjustments programs of IMF. Well, all educated adults of Pakistan know that the economy of Pakistan once again went into tailspin in 2023. Pakistan faced a very difficult situation. There were economic crisis. There was a threat of default of economy of Pakistan. Then Pakistan went to IMF to get loans from IMF. Pakistan came into agreement with IMF on June 29, 2023, and a bailout package of $3 billion was released by IMF. But viewers, this was not a free lunch by IMF. We all know that IMF imposes very strict conditions on Pakistan. Whenever it gives loan to any country, it it imposes very strict conditions, and we call these conditions structural adjustments programs of IMF. IMF restricts Pakistan from giving any subsidies to the power distribution companies. We all know that before this, Pakistani government was giving subsidies to the power distribution companies so that the power distribution companies do not increase the electric bill, and the power distribution companies do not put this burden on the consumers. Now, IMF restricts Pakistan from giving any subsidies to the power distribution companies, and now Pakistan government cannot give subsidies to these companies. Electricity is not subsidized now, and people are compelled to pay high bills. Now, this is another factor that contributes to the cost of electricity. Government wants IMF to allow it to use 1/3 of the monthly revenue to give unbudgeted subsidy to the distribution companies to provide relief to consumers. Now, government is doing efforts to get permission from IMF, but government is actually seeking a nod from IMF, but IMF is not allowing the government of Pakistan to use any revenue for the subsidies. Now, this is another cause of expensive electricity in Pakistan. Now, Pakistani people, the consumer, is facing this problem, and now Pakistani consumer is compelled to pay high bills. Another cause of expensive electricity, fluctuation in the value of dollar. Well, we all know that rupee is very unstable, and the value of dollar is fluctuates because of the devaluation of rupee, not because of the some problem with dollar. Well, problem is with rupee. We all know that rupee is highly unstable, and rupee devalues a lot, so the value of dollar fluctuates because rupee devalues, and this devaluation of rupee contributes to hike in price of electricity. How? When rupee devalues, the cost of oil increases. Why? Because we buy the fuel for the generation of electricity in dollar. We have discussed this in detail, that we buy the fuel to generate electricity in dollar, and when rupee devalues, the cost of the fossil fuel increases. Today, on September 1st, $1 is equal to 302 Pakistani rupee. So this thing adds to the cost of electricity. Two more causes of expensive electricity in Pakistan. Well, we can say that causes that we have studied till now: the cost of generation of electricity, the devaluation of rupee, the flawed approach of government in the agreements with IPPs. We can say that those were the economic causes. Now the causes that we're going to study are social causes. We can say that yes, these are social causes, and there is a problem with the society, the way the government runs the society, and these problems are actually causing an increase in the cost of electricity in Pakistan. So, free electricity to government officials. Studies show that government officials of BPS 17 to 21 grade in DISCOs, GENCOs, NTDC, NPCC, CPPA, PEPCO, and WAPDA Hydel Company enjoy free electricity. Government gives free units of electricity to these government officials, to these officers. They use electricity worth rupees 2.1 billion per year free of cost. Now, what difference does it make? Well, these officers use free electricity, and the poor people feels the burden of this free electricity, and the poor people has to pay for the electricity that the officers and the government officials use, because the cost incurs on the poor people of Pakistan. So this is a kind of injustice, and this thing actually increases the cost of electricity, because if you're giving one person a thing that is very costly, if you're giving one person that costly thing free of cost, then you'll have to charge that cost from the other person, and you'll have to double the cost of that thing, and you'll charge the other person who is paying for that electricity, you'll charge the other person double, because at the end you have to pay for the fuel, and you have to pay for to IPPs. So this thing actually it contributes to the burden on poor people of the country, and then the poor people and the middle class feels the burden of the expensive electricity. Then another cause, transmission and distribution losses and electricity theft. We all know that there are T&D losses in Pakistani electricity system, in Pakistani transmission and distribution system. The allowed losses for the discos were 13.41%, whereas actual losses were 17.13%. This is something that the report of NEPRA says, 2022 report. It says that the discos were allowed to make 13.41% losses, because we know that in every machinery in the world there are losses, and we cannot eliminate these losses 100%. Yes, there are losses, but Pakistan, the electric system of Pakistan incurs huge losses. So in 2022 there were 17.13% losses. And according to Secretary of Power Division Rashid Langreal, electricity worth rupees 380 billion was stolen in fiscal year 2022-2023. Now, some people they steal electricity, and what difference does it make? The honest people feel the burden of this stolen electricity. They are charged doubled and tripled then. Now, rupees 200 billion were stolen through kundas or hooks, and rupees 80 billion was stolen through meters and other sources. Now, this thing actually creates an injustice in the society of Pakistan. Some people are using the electricity for free, and some people are paying double. So this is the thing that makes the electricity of Pakistan expensive, because there is no justice. Now, the impacts of expensive electricity in Pakistan. Well, there are numerous impacts of expensive electricity, and these impacts are actually very deep, and almost all the sectors of Pakistan feel these impacts, and it hurts the economy most importantly. So first of all, we would study the impacts that industrial sector feels. Well, when the cost of electricity is increased, this thing creates a trickle down effect. This thing leads to the increase in the cost of everything. It increases the cost of production. Now, the industries would have to buy expensive electricity. This would increase their cost of production. And then the cost of production would increase, and the industrialist would definitely, to compensate this increase in the cost, the industrialist would add this cost in the final products, and this caused a rise in cost of final products. Now, this leads to lesser and expensive exports in international market. The increase in electricity, the cost of electricity, leads to increase in cost of production. Increase in cost of production leads to increase in cost of final products. the final products of the industries of Pakistan become expensive. And we all know that if your product is expensive in international market, you will be incompetent. You will lose your competency and no one will buy your product because your product is expensive. No matter why a product is expensive, but your product is expensive, and the producers of Pakistan will not be able to compete in international market. Now what would happen? It means that there would be lesser and expensive exports in international market. This would lead to lower GDP of Pakistan, and this would impact the economy of Pakistan very badly. According to Energy Sector Reforms and Financial Sustainability Program report, energy crisis has resulted in a loss of $82 billion in GDP between 2007 and 2020. This was a report of a program that was started by Asian Development Bank, and this report says that Pakistan incurred a loss of $82 billion in GDP between 2007 and 2020. Now it shows that how these energy crises impact the economy of a country. So this was the impact that industrial sector faces. Now the domestic sector, what is the impact on domestic sector? Well, we are seeing this impact for the past few days. People are protesting, people are on streets, people do not know what to do because people cannot pay for the electricity anymore. People are burdened now. There is a burden on people of Pakistan. These electric bills have strained the affordability of consumers. And this is a very bad situation. People are unable to pay. Poor people, I mean lower middle class people, they are unable to pay for the electricity. Now the solutions, what Pakistani government can do to give relief to the people of Pakistan. First of all, Pakistani government should renegotiate agreements with IPPs. We have studied this in detail that the agreements with IPPs are unfair, unjust, and IPPs charge a lot. There is a capacity payment, and so government officials should find a middle ground with the IPPs, because we all know that IPPs are actually foreign countries companies, and this is a very sensitive issue. The Pakistani government should not upset these foreign investors, because if we upset these foreign investors, this would damage the image of the country. This would give an impression that Pakistan is not a responsible country and the foreign investors should not come to Pakistan and they should not invest in Pakistan. The government should just realize its mistake, that it came into a very unjust agreement with the IPPs in 1994. So government officials should just renegotiate agreements very sagaciously, and government officials should find a middle ground with the IPPs to give relief to its people and to make electricity cheaper. Then the second solution that we can propose, it is build cross-border infrastructure for transmission of energy. Well, the report of Karek, it shows that Mand Jakigul transmission line is the only transmission line that is working across the border of Pakistan. Pakistan has only one cross-border interconnection, that is Mand Jakigul. It connects Pakistan and Iran, and its capacity is 104 megawatt. So Pakistan imports energy from this Mand Jakigul transmission line from Iran. Then there is Kasa 1000. This is a very mega power interconnection project, and its capacity is 1300 megawatt, and it is Pakistan, Afghanistan, Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan Central Asia South Asia project. Kasa 1000, Central Asia South Asia Kasa 1000 project. And Pakistan part of the project is under construction. This is a mega project. I mean, if it's completed, it can be of benefit for Pakistan. Then Pakistan-Iran gas pipeline. Pakistan-Iran gas pipeline is is just in planning phase right now, and it is expected to be commissioned by 2025, and its capacity is 40 billion cubic meters per annum. If Pakistan completes this project, it would once again it would be of benefit for Pakistan. Then the pipeline, TAPI pipeline, Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and India gas pipeline. This is a project that has been discussed for more than a decade, and the realization of this project is not discussed for a very long time. It is just in the planning phase. But if the authorities take a serious action and they start this project, this would be once again this would be beneficial for Pakistan, and Pakistan would not have to import fossil fuels, a lot of fossil fuels. I mean, this would be cheaper for Pakistan. uh, Pakistan will get 13 billion cubic meters per annum of gas from this pipeline, the TAPI pipeline. So this is another solution for the problem that Pakistan is facing today, that Pakistan build a cross-border infrastructure for transmission of energy. Now viewers, the last and the most important and most impact creating solution of expensive electricity in Pakistan: explore local sources of electricity generation. Pakistan should eliminate the fossil fuels from its electricity generation system. Pakistan should abandon using these expensive and imported fossil fuels. Pakistan should go for local sources. Pakistan should go for hydropower, Pakistan should go for solar and wind based electricity. Pakistan should go for renewable energy sources. According to Central Asia Regional Economic Cooperation Program report, Energy Outlook 2030, this is Karachi Economic Outlook 2030 report, total hydropower resource potential is 60 gigawatt in Pakistan. And this is according to this report, that Pakistan can generate 60 gigawatt of electricity using hydropower. Now this is way more than the demand of Pakistan. Then we will learn very interesting figures of wind energy. The theoretical potential of total wind energy is estimated at 340 gigawatt, with the southern wind corridors being the most auspicious. The Gharo Ketibandar wind corridor has over 50 gigawatt of potential alone. Now this is once again from the Karachi Economic Outlook 2030 report. Now this shows that there's a lot of potential of generation of electricity from renewable energy sources in Pakistan, and the report, Karachi report, this was actually a program of Asian Development Bank, and it shows that there's a potential of hydropower resource generation. There's a potential of wind energy, and Pakistan can generate energy from these resources. So Pakistan should stop using fossil fuels. I mean, not at once, gradually. This is a long-term solution of expensive electricity in Pakistan, and it would take time. So Pakistan should gradually shift from renewable energy, non-renewable energy sources to renewable energy sources. This would be in favor of Pakistan, and this would solve the problem of energy crisis and expensive electricity in Pakistan for good. So these were the solutions of expensive electricity in Pakistan, and I think that we have discussed a lot today. We have discussed enough. So this is the end of this video today. I hope that you all got whatever I was trying to explain. You all now can make a very good understanding why the electricity in Pakistan is expensive, what are the causes, what are the impacts, and what could be the solution for the this problem of Pakistan, and what can government do. So thank you so much for listening to me. Allah Hafiz, and don't forget to comment on this video, don't forget to like this video, and don't forget to share this video, especially if you are a CSS aspirant. So don't forget to subscribe the channel Knowledge Realm. So thank you. Allah Hafiz.